So the story behind Lean kind of comes about right after the COVID restrictions had lifted, and we were able to, be in rooms together again. And my buddy Noah Smith and I, we were like, let's get some friends together and write songs, because we hadn't been able to do that in so long, because you couldn't really get together and hang out, because they wanted you to be, distanced or whatever. And I hate to write songs over like Zoom. So I was dying to get in a room with some people and write some songs. So we get to this little place in Falmouth, Kentucky. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's perfect so that we can just write songs and focus on that and nothing else. And we had some grills and just a bunch of meat. And we had, all kinds of breakfast meats and all the good stuff that you want, a little fire going. And we decided to just go out there and write songs. So me and a few other guys, just took that whole weekend to write songs. But me and Noah got there a few hours before everybody else, just to kind of get some stuff set up. And then by the time we got all that done, we realized we got a couple hours to spare. We should just write a song. We're already here. And we had already been talking about a few things that have been going on, in our lives during COVID. He had gone through some stuff, previously with, he was talking about how he had done some counseling recently and some therapy. And he didn't know this, but I was actually in a place where I probably needed some counseling and therapy. But I wasn't really talking to anybody about it. I was just kind of like dealing with it on my own and keeping it inside. And we've been best friends a long time, so he probably kind of knew that I needed to talk to somebody. But he also knows that sometimes the best therapy is for us to sit down and write songs. So I was kind of talking to him about some of my issues with how I was feeling with church, and like I've been working in the ministry for like 20 years, and COVID kind of changed gears overnight. I had to rethink how I did everything, but also I didn't realize that during that time I was going to have some previous issues with grief pop up. And I was kind of dealing with some things, and I'd had one night where I felt this overwhelming dread that I was going to lose everybody in my life. My mom passed away in my early 20s. My dad died when I was 9. We had just lost a family pet not too long before that. And I was just dealing with grief, but it was just kind of like bubbling to the surface, and I didn't know what was going on inside, and I hadn't really talked through it or worked through it with anybody, but I was starting to figure things out. I had gained like 100 pounds. I weighed like 350 pounds. I've lost like 100 pounds now, which is crazy in itself, that story. But so we were just talking about our faith, and I was just like, man, right now I'm just kind of hanging on to whatever I got, whatever, because everything seems kind of out of control in my life right now. And my faith was really the only thing that I had to hold on to at that moment, or that's what it felt like. I felt like I could lose everything at any second, and I hate that feeling of dread. And he got to talking about his faith, and we went back and forth, and he said, you know what my grandfather says about faith? He said, it's like an old chair. You don't know that the chair is going to hold you up till you sit down in it and just kind of lean back. And I said, dude, that's the song we need to write right now. Because I wasn't feeling like a song where I needed to write this super like vertical, Jesus-y worship song about, water or whatever that we all write about when we write worship songs. I really wanted to write something that came from what I was feeling at the time. And really, I just felt like, that was all I had was my faith, to just lean back in it, and whatever the darkness held in it, sometimes you just got to face things and go through it and accept it so that you can get to the other side and come out stronger. So that's what we wrote this song about. Lean's really just about relying on a power that's bigger than you. And even though you may not know what the other side looks like, you're not going to see the other side if you're not willing to face what's in the darkness and accept what's to come. Sometimes it's just easier to live in chaos and to live in the hurt. But there's so much more peace on the other side if you're willing to face your struggles, accept what you're going through, and then start to work through whatever that thing is. Small or large, it's always better to face your problems head on and come out the other side stronger, so that you don't have to go through those things again. And when you do, you have a pretty good roadmap of how you're going to get through it. So I wrote this song with Noah Smith. It's called Lean. It comes out February 7th, and I can't wait for you to hear it. I worked on it with a producer named Mikey Howard. He's in a band called Seventh Time Down. They were one of my favorite bands growing up, and I thought they were maybe the hardest working dudes alive. So it was a blessing to be able to work on this song with him, and it's probably my favorite song I'm going to release to date. And it means so much to me personally because I wrote it with my best friend, but it also got me through a really tough period of my life. And now that I have come out the other side, I am in such a better place, and a lot of it is due to that conversation and this song coming out. And I believe in it so much, I tattooed it on my hand so that I would never forget that sometimes you gotta lean.